It's a madhouse! A madhouse!
Welcome back to the Movie Madhouse. I'm Rob.
I'm James.
I'm Jason.
And our good buddy.
Dave Montoya.
Now, are you sure it's working this time?
It says in this little corner, live now. So
Okay.
we're good.
just want to check. We don't want to get 5 minutes into a conversation and then...
Exactly. Yeah, this is our second intro because we were sitting here chatting and I looked into the corner and it said scheduled. And it's like, no, it's supposed to say live, but only if you hit go live. So that's me. I apologize. We're off.
It's okay. We'll move past it. Don't want to happen again.
I'm so sorry. Oh, yep, there we go. Lupa says it's working. Yay.
Okay.
Because it wasn't before, trust me.
Hey, Steph's watching. Hi, Steph.
Did you see her name?
That's Stephanie.
Lupa?
Yes.
Lupa Barty. That's her nickname is Lupa.
Oh, no
Stephanie.
way. I did not know that.
Yep.
Well, hello. I thought Lupa's an interesting name.
It's our alter ego. It's kind of like a Batman Bruce Wayne situation.
There we go. We brought our buddy Dave on and said, Dave, what topic would you want to pick? So what topic did you pick for today, Dave?
The top 10 best sequels for a horror flick.
Right.
Now, what topic did you think it was on Friday when you messaged me?
What was it? The top 10 best.
You didn't know what the topic
porn
was
or something.
I got my list for that.
No, I forgot.
It happens. Now, just to preface, because when we get talking, things are going to get talked about. So right off the bat, spoiler alert.
Oh, big time.
These movies, if you don't want to know the end, don't pay attention too much to certain things. Odds are you will have seen a lot of them on this list, though.
Oh, no doubt. But I got one or two that the spoiler thing should definitely be up. So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm anxious. Well, let's jump right into this. And as always, we start with our guest, Dave. What's your number 10 horror sequel?
My number 10, only because the first was so good that no sequel could follow it. I went with Exorcist 2.
Really?
Yes. Just because it was so bad. There was no, I mean, for me, Exorcist 1 would be my number 1 as far as all-time scary movies. And part 2 was just such a big disappointment. So I had to start off with 10 because it only gets better from there.
Right. Ryan's got the same mindset. He says Halloween 3, FTW.
Actually, we just did, not to jump subjects real fast, but on the World of Myth, we literally just did an entire movie review on every single Halloween except the Rob Zombie Halloweens. So,
that's still, was that 8 films, 9 films?
9.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Oh, yeah, with the last one. Yeah, that was the 9th, wasn't it?
And I learned a bit of trivia last night. How many times is the name Michael Myers said in the original Halloween?
47.
Michael Myers?
Yeah. How many times is the full name said?
Twice?
James, guess?
I haven't seen it in decades, so 3.
0.
Oh,
Really?
That's right, because he's just called The Shape.
What about Loomis? Loomis doesn't say it?
See? Not once. She's right. No, he doesn't. He said he talks about the Myers family and the Myers house and calls him
him the
Michael.
boogeyman.
Right?
Oh, just Michael. Okay.
But Michael, yep. Yeah. Woot. She got it. But yeah, I was in a trivia contest last night. I got that wrong, and I'm supposed to be a Halloween junkie. I said 1. Anyway, Exorcist 2. That was a good divergence from Exorcist 2, wasn't it? Jason, what's your number 10?
My number 10 from 2001, strictly because it is so damn cheesy. I absolutely love it. Jason X. I love that movie. Put it this way. It's the only Friday the 13th movie that I remember the whole movie. I have not seen, there's a few in the middle of the series I've never seen.
What about Freddy versus Jason?
That's in my honorable mentions.
Oh,
But,
okay.
But again, that's not a straight Friday the 13th movie.
Uh,
So for
true.
the Friday the 13th series, I've only seen like 3 of them, maybe 4. But Jason X is the only one that has stuck with me through the years.
Oh, it's because Tony Todd's in it, right?
Shut up, Rob. I've had it with you.
I'm sorry. Did I picked that scab again, didn't I?
Yes, you did. We know I'm sensitive.
I know David Cronenberg's in that one.
Oh, yeah, he's the guy he talks to on the screen all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he's the one he's trying to buy Jason's body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that either.
But yeah, it is so cheesy because like with everything they had done through the Friday the 13th series, okay, they got to take him into space. How can they do it? They pulled it off. As silly as it is, they pulled it off.
I actually have to say they did it better than they did Bond, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
I love James Bond, but Moonraker is like, Bond does not belong in space. Jason does.
Well, he did in that movie.
Oh yeah, and Voorhees too.
Hey,
James, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is a sequel to a movie called The Houses October Built, and it is The Houses October Built 2 from 2017. The Houses October Built was an indie horror film that was made where 2 guys and 2 girls are in an RV and they're traveling across the U.S. seeking out basically the best of like the haunted houses that the country has to offer. And as they're going from haunted house to haunted house, they're not really that impressed. They start hearing rumors of this group called the Blue Skeleton that apparently puts on the ultimate horror themed haunted house every year. And they're always in a different location every year. And as they try and get closer and closer to this group, they start getting followed by this guy in it dressed up like a clown, this girl in this creepy doll mask, and they get sort of intimidated and terrorized by these people, and then the movie ends on a cliffhanger where they're buried alive in coffins, and it picks up in the second movie where that was this was spoilers, but it was sort of a bit of a setup, and they try and get over the trauma of that by continuing to find this blue skeleton and the ultimate horror haunted house. And these were just really, really well done horror movies with a lot of the day players in some of the creepiest Halloween masks you'd probably see. And just like camera pans one way, then it pans back, and all of a sudden someone's there. And yeah, they're done by a guy named Bobby Rowe, who also stars in both.
Interesting. I've never heard of either of those.
I had vaguely heard of them, and then I found a 2-pack that had both the movies in it. I'm a big fan of both. The Houses October Built 1 and 2, but number 2 is my pick.
Isn't there a
Days in
3?
California with the land of film. You must have heard of these, right?
I have.
You have?
Yeah, I've seen them. They're actually really, really
Joke,
good.
you ruined it. They are?
Yes.
Dang it! I've got to watch them now. Son
And that's
of
what I
a-
was saying is I was asking. I believe there's 3.
I only am aware of 2, but since it's been 3 years, they did a short film in 2011 that turned into the movie from 2014, 2017. Bobby Rowe.
Well, it
It
shows
doesn't.
3, but it's interesting because there's one called The Houses October Built from 2011.
Yeah, that's the original that they based the full movie on. So there's technically 3, but there isn't a part 3.
Gotcha.
Okay. Because there's 3 listings.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But-
Now I got to watch it. Son of a gun. My list keeps growing. My number 10, 2019, It Chapter 2.
That's
love what they did. That's your
that's
number
my
2?
number. That's my number 2.
I still haven't
I'm a-
watched it.
I'm a huge fan of part 2.
I can't believe you haven't watched it yet.
No, yeah, I just never got around to it. I think mostly because the people in my circle who have seen it, it's had a lot of mixed reactions, so it just didn't put it that high on my list.
Oh,
And
It's
just
worth
because
a good,
I'm me,
honest watch.
yeah.
I think it's way better than part 1, but Yeah. Take
Yep.
my opinion for what it's worth.
Sorry, were you saying something?
I was going to say, I'm surprised they're even talking right now. For those of you that missed, I think Dave just called out a dare on Jason, didn't you? Did you hear
Yeah,
what he
I
said?
said-
Jason? You can't block out James, okay? Come on, stop it.
I was saying, Jay, it's worth a good, honest watch.
Hey. No, that's heavy words, man. Heavy words.
I think the glove
With great
has been down.
power comes great responsibility.
The glove has been tossed. Prepare for 9 more in this episode, okay? Let me see. Oh, where's my cursor? Because Stephanie is talking. Those rock, she said. And then she said, it's good. I missed the first one. But yeah, she's saying that series is good as well. I have not even heard of it. Okay, number 9. Dave, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is Tusk.
Nice.
That's not a sequel.
Oh,
It's part of a Great White North trilogy, though.
But it's not the sequel. That's the first film. Tusk came first. Yoga Hosers was second.
Oh, you're right. I was thinking Yoga Hosers, then Tusk. Okay.
Yeah. Don't argue with me on Kevin facts, man. That's my idol, my king, my
Let's say
obsession.
he gets 1.
Okay,
Tusk
well,
is
you know
a
what?
great movie.
I can jump to Yoga Hosers. Let's do Yoga Hosers then.
Okay,
Yoga.
sure. Okay.
All right.
Entirely different vibe and okay.
Yeah, lots of weed,
Yeah.
Nazi weenies, creatures.
how can you go wrong with Nazi weenies? That's all I've got to say.
Mhm. The
You know.
goalie golem.
Oh, the goalie.
Yeah.
Ralph Garming doing a phenomenal German mad scientist.
Nice.
Yes.
Actually, a friend of mine from the States, her name's Jamie, suggested it to her the other day, and I just saw her post on Facebook maybe half an hour ago. That's what she's watching.
Nice.
What was that, 2018?
Yeah. 17.
Or
wasn't it?
no.
Might be 17. It's been a
Doesn't
couple
seem that
years,
long
so-
ago.
No.
No,
Well,
but then again, 2020 has been taking 3 years, so
Yeah, exactly. Nobody has a good sense of time anymore.
No.
How about 2016? There we go.
oh, wow, it's really been 4 years. Jeez, it's gonna be forever before we ever get Moose Jaws.
Right?
I think we're
This is-
getting Mallrats before that.
Yeah, Mallrats 2 and Clerks 3 are his next 2 big films.
Well, Jason, what's your next big film for number 9?
My number 9. Now, this is a brand new watch. I literally just watched this yesterday, and I hummed and hawed about slipping this in the list, but it bumps something else out. This is it's a brand new movie from earlier this year, Brahms, The Boy 2.
Oh, I saw that.
Now, this is where big spoiler alert. Okay, I loved The Boy, the first film, because it was marketed and it plays through the whole film that it's another possessed doll movie. Uh-oh. What happened?
Dave left. Apparently that movie sucks, and he said, "Screw you guys, I'm going home."
Oh,
That's one I haven't seen that one, but I haven't been able to find it either. I've seen part 2.
Well, the first one, it plays like it's a possessed doll movie. Spoilers. Thank you. It's not.
I have seen the end.
It's actually the kid of the people who own the home. He's hiding in the walls. He's hidden in the house.
Right.
The second one takes it back to being a possessed doll movie. But because if you've seen the first one, you're thinking, no, Brahms is still alive and he's still skulking around and all that stuff. Flips it back to being, no, it is a possessed doll movie. There's a history in this house. Multiple families have had this kind of stuff happen. So it's like an Amityville horror situation.
So they sort of start fresh, but they find a little bit of connective tissue.
Right. But if you saw the first one, at the very end of the first one, you saw somebody putting the doll back together because the face got smashed.
Okay.
We find out who did that in the second one.
Yay, he's back.
Welcome back, Dave.
My apologies.
Was it something I said?
Oh, that'll do it.
So you actually see who puts the doll back together again at the end of the first one, and they used the exact same footage. They didn't re-edit or anything. It's the exact same footage.
Nice.
So they plotted this. And I like that switch that they did, and it worked. It played well.
I did like part 2. I just haven't seen 1 and 2 in succession.
If you ever get to see number 1, you'll get what I mean. Where they gave you the bait and switch in the first one, they flip it back again in the second one. Like, it's awesome. It's really, really well done.
Alrighty. In that case, James, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is from 2000. It's part 5 in the Hellraiser series. It's the first one the first and only of the Hellraiser that actually creeped me out. It's Hellraiser Inferno, and it's the directorial debut of Scott Derrickson, who went on to do Exorcism of Emily Rose, Sinister, Doctor Strange.
Some good movies.
Yeah, and this one, this is one of the, there's a few of the Hellraiser movies where the story was originally purposed, it was something else, and they sort of repurposed it and mixed in Pinhead to make it a Hellraiser story. And this one is evident in that Pinhead doesn't really show up. More towards the end, it's more about, because it stars Craig Sheffer, and he's sort of a cop on the edge, corrupt cop, bit of a drug problem, and does things to serve himself. And it's more about the troubles he has. The box is involved. The puzzle box is involved, but Pinhead doesn't really come in until the end. So they work him in great, but it's a very creepy horror movie up until then.
So did they just combine the Nightbreed and Hellraiser storylines there? Is that what they did?
No. It has nothing to do with Nightbreed.
That's a missed opportunity.
A sequel to Nightbreed would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I'd settle for this like bootleg cut that
the Cabal cut.
Yeah, that people were putting together from found footage and stuff. Like
I've seen the original. I've seen the director's cut, and the Cabal cut apparently incorporates VHS footage. I think they may release it one day, but they have to get it looking watchable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, mine is from 1987. and it follows a classic. So of course, it's very hard pressed to be, you know, supersede it, but it does pretty good. It's Evil Dead 2.
Nice. I put that and Army of Darkness actually at my number 3.
Yes.
Yes.
I had Army of Darkness on there, and then it got moved out a couple times, regrettably.
Sadly, I didn't get it on my list.
I just put Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness together in my number 3 spot.
Combine them, that works.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's so much fun just to watch Ash beat himself up with his hand. You know, like,
Evil
You
Dead
can't
2
go
is my
wrong.
number 4.
what's that?
Oh, nice.
That was your 4?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Did any of you ever watch Ash versus Evil Dead?
Yes.
I saw the first episode or two. I'm planning to go back to it.
I loved the series, but they really made me sad and angry when they ended the series because they had said during New York Comic Con, just as the first season was coming out, they said they couldn't get the rights to reference anything from Army of Darkness. Different company owns those rights. But they did or were allowed to touch on the alternate ending of Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
which is great.
And that's where they ended the show. He wakes up in the future. Fans know, okay, we're about to get the post-apocalyptic Evil Dead continuation we were waiting for, and that's where they ended the show.
And then Bruce Campbell retires.
Yep.
Now, anybody that's going to watch Blood in the Snow this next week and a half, there is a documentary in there you have to see called Hail to the Deadites.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's all about the fandom of Evil Dead. And there's this amazing story in there about a cosplayer. Large notoriety in his area for playing Ash, you know, with the chainsaw in his hand and the whole bit. So he gets a GoFundMe to go to Bruce Campbell's HorrorCon. And, you know, he's watching it. It's not getting there. And so he looks at it. He's like $800 short, shuts it off. And he's doing some typing. And his buddy messages him going, "Did you look at your funder? You did it." He's like, "What are you talking about? I just looked at it." He looks back. Someone made an $800 donation, anonymous. And the only name that gave was The Chin. And so he got there and he actually got to talk with Bruce Campbell. And he goes, "You're that cosplayer guy that did the GoFundMe thing." He went, "Yep." And Bruce just kind of smiled and went, "Oh, okay," and walked away.
Mm-hmm. I heard that story.
Yeah, it's never been confirmed, but it really looks like he chipped in.
That was his wink right there when he said, "Oh, good for you," because he knew the story. So, yeah, that was Bruce.
But yeah, oh man, the doc is so good, so good.
I'll have to definitely look for that.
All right, Dave, we're back to you. Number 8.
Stephen King's Carrie.
Oh, old school.
That's not a sequel.
I went old school.
Oh wait, that's not a sequel.
2.
Oh,
okay,
Not the 2.
gotcha. Where is...
okay. That was the
The-
Rage,
the-
Carrie?
the Rage, the direct-to-video one.
Yes. That's
Oh,
another.
Angela Bettis?
The one that's so bad that it's another fun to watch. I like. You'll see a theme. I like movies that are so bad that they turn good.
Oh, please tell me you have American Psycho 2 on there then.
Honorable mention, actually. I have that honorable mention. I do.
Oh.
Because again, much like the whole Exorcist, you know, the first Carrie was so just. It was a great flick. It was a great scary flick, and then you know when it came out with part 2, The Rage, you're like, wait.
I thought this was part of a good movie.
I'm not even sure if I ever watched it. I feel like I did when it first came out, but I remember nothing from it.
I've still never seen that one. I've seen the remake with the sisters from Chatham, but
Yeah.
Really?
I've not seen it.
So-
I'm sorry, Dave. I let you down on that one.
I would say it would be worth a good, honest watch, but that would be a lie. It's
I told you, be careful with that.
He's just flinging him around willy-nilly now.
No
Watch
kidding.
him.
Give him an inch, he takes a mile. Holy smokes.
Well, that's because he's American. We take kilometers.
yes.
Jason, what's your number 8?
My number 8 from 1990, Predator 2.
You call that horror?
Yes.
I almost did that, but those
For
are
the-
more sci-fi action.
I can see the argument, but the gore factor keeps it in the horror.
Because I almost did Aliens versus Predator Requiem, where the Predalien who's attacking the hospital and like injecting the pregnant women, which is pretty horrifying. But then I cut it off. But I understand.
Yeah.
I get it, and that's the same conversation is going to come up later in my list, but it's still because of the gore factor of what the Predator does. I still feel it fits.
They have skinned people hanging inside the apartment.
Exactly.
Yeah. That kind of
So, but in Predator 2, it took the whole mythos of the Predator to the next level. It came out a year after the comic, the Aliens versus Predator comic, and then gave us that nod with the alien skull.
It's the alien. It's the Annabelle Comes Home T-shirt.
Oh,
I figured for today I actually had a horror sequel T-shirt.
there you go. He's just got theme going on all over the place.
Apparently.
James, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is from 2017. It's a prequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is called Leatherface. Not to be confused with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This was done by a couple of, I think it's Spanish directors. They who did the original movie Inside. But this one is about the character who would turn into Jedediah Sawyer, Leatherface. And it's sort of, I'm glad we did the spoiler thing, just because the only reason I'm going to spoil part of this, the movie is great to watch. It's just they throw a big curveball at you where a nurse gets caught up in a mental asylum riot, and she gets protected by a character named Jackson, and they go on the run with a couple other escaped inmates. And you've got Jackson, you've got the nurse, you've got a couple other criminals, and you have this big guy named Bud, who's got big hulking guy with long brown curly hair, who is the perfect guy. It's like, well, this guy is going to turn into Leatherface. He has to. Well, as it turns out, he ends up getting killed 3/4 of the way through, and the character of Jackson gets injured and he gets damaged mentally, and he ends up turning into what would be Leatherface. So they give you a swerve by showing you someone who could be Leatherface, and then they go the other way and have it this guy. But it's a great origin story. It's pretty brutal, but it's a really good kind of a road movie, but really good prequel to a pretty terrible horror movie.
Interesting.
Well.
No. We're gonna ignore that.
What?
Number 8 for me. Okay, I understand why you had Predator on your list, because I kind of have Predator on my list. My number 8 is from 2002, Blade 2. And it's got the Predator-like zombie or vampires.
The Reapers.
Yes. I like them just for that vampire alone, that film.
Mm-hmm.
They are the coolest vampires. And it's got the dog.
The dog comes in Trinity.
Dog's in 3.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah, that's
Vampire
right.
Pomeranian.
It does have Norman Reedus, though.
Yes, it does. Okay, Dave, number 7.
All right. My number 7 is Friday the 13th, Part 3. And the reason I picked this is because this is really where the mythos of Jason really begins, as to what we know as Jason Voorhees, with, him stalking Crystal Lake, with the mask, with everything that we know starts in 3. And then everything that follows up is basically a recounting of what we've been told in 3. That's, what I see as it anyway.
Isn't there one that it's not Jason though?
That is what, 4 or 5.
That's what I've ever heard. But again, I know I watched the original Friday the 13th. I might have watched the second one at some point down the road. I saw a good chunk of the one where the girl with telekinesis. I pretty sure I watched Manhattan because I remember the boxer thing.
That was a hard watch.
And then Jason X. That's what I can recall of the Friday the 13th series. So, but I always heard that there's one where it's not Jason. Not the first one.
It's some paramedic who goes crazy. Yeah. I have the 10-hour. It's like a 10-hour Crystal Lake Memories documentary.
Well, I know I like 3 because it was in 3D.
Yeah,
you had eyeballs popping out at the screen. It was,
every Halloween time, every year, my kids and I, we binge watch an entire franchise. And last year it was Friday the 13th.
Nice.
And that was one of the things that my middle one noticed is in the fake Jason was he had blue marks on his mask, as to every other mask had always had the red marks on the hockey mask.
Mm-hmm.
And she pointed that out. And I'm like, just wait. Just wait.
You're too smart for your own good.
Yes.
Now, did you watch Jason X?
Yeah, we watched Jason X. We watched Jason Goes to Hell. We watched the remake, and we watched Freddy vs. Jason. We watched the whole.
Nice.
This year we did the Halloween, but we didn't do the Rob Zombie because my 2 girls are young, and I felt that was a little bit too much for them to handle at this age. So we skipped the
Zombies'
Rob...
horror level is off the charts.
So we skipped. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's more reality-based Halloween as opposed to supernatural, crazy killer type thing.
Yeah, we went from the 2002 Resurrection to the 2018 Halloween, and we just kind of skipped over those. I told them there's 2 more movies, and when you get older we can watch them, but right now you have to hit. Yeah,
we'll watch them later. Here's your Paw Patrol.
Not my kids.
No way. All right, Jason, what is your number 7?
All right, number 7, 1978, Dawn of the Dead. It's, to me, that is like, it's the best sequel in the Night of the Living Dead franchise, in my opinion. And I'm sticking with the original in this case, just because of where it was in its day. It really moved well. The idea of being able to survive in that situation in a mall was just kind of mind-blowing. Like, it's a perfect place.
Yeah.
So so of course it had to be on this list.
Yeah, it's my number 3.
Yeah, mine too.
Nice. Are you guys talking about the original or the remake?
Original.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, I like the Zack Snyder remake. I thought that was really good. I thought, as far as remake-wise, I think that was maybe one of the best remakes made as far as horror films. But nothing can ever touch the original, I don't think.
You kind of have to take them separately because the choices that Snyder made with his version do differ a lot from the traditional Night of the Living Dead style. Okay. Yeah. But it is still a good movie on its own. You just have to, in my opinion, those ones have to be taken separately. You can't compare.
It's just like Halloween. Rob Zombie's Halloween is so different from Michael Myers of the original.
Yeah. Take them separate. Yep.
All right. James, number 7.
Number 7. My number 7 is from 2011. It's The Thing, prequel to The Thing.
Well played.
I love this one because not just because you've got like the great acting of like Joel Edgerton and Mary Elizabeth Winstead in there, but I love how it makes you think back to the original thing where you get that bloody handprint on the wall and the axe in the door, and you're like, I wonder how those got there. And they go back and they show you exactly how those got there.
And now you know. And knowing
Plus-
is half the battle.
Yo,
Plus-
Joe.
Plus, going a step further with the when it takes a new body, it can't digest the metal, and you still have no idea who's the thing at any given time. Even at the end of the movie, she like roasts Joel Edgerton, but you don't know for a fact if he is. It just because he's missing an earring.
Yep. It's the old McReady and Childs standoff, but she pulled the trigger.
She did, yes. And while you don't know whatever happened to her, then
That's the only thing I don't like about that prequel, is because literally for that movie to actually fit in the canon, she's frozen dead somewhere.
she may very well be, or she escaped and she's living anonymously somewhere.
South America.
She's living amongst the penguins.
That's right.
She is their new queen, their empress.
You get some weird bird person going, that one looks different.
She skinned a few weaker ones to make her coat.
It's the leather face of penguins right there. Let me see. My number 7 is one that was kind of panned, but I actually like it better than the original for rewatchability. From
Ooh.
2000, it's The Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. Oh,
Yeah.
I like it so much better than the original.
See, I loved the original the first time I saw it. You know, it was awesome. But you go back and watch it, it's like the most boring piece of film on the planet.
Yep, that was my feeling from the get-go.
know?
I like the last like minute of that film. The rest was boring as hell, and that's the main reason why I never even gave Book of Shadows a chance.
It's totally different. It's Hollywood. Like, it is a film. You know?
That's what I've heard, but the first one just didn't work for me. No, not gonna bother.
Oh, but you got to. And the only relation is the mythology. Like, none of the characters are the same. And the story's not the same. You know, you should give it a good, honest watch.
No, I refuse.
Yeah, I said it. You can't take it back.
See how many movies Jay's going to end up having to watch by the time this show's over.
I don't get to watch as much anymore. I can't watch stuff on my phone at work anymore.
Oh, see, look at this. I loved all the Blair Witches. See?
Well, I wonder why.
The most recent Blair Witch is pretty good, but it didn't really tread any new ground.
It felt like the original, just modernized.
Yes.
And that
They
it
threw
was
a-
like an
they-
actual remake, wasn't it?
No, it was supposed to be a continuation. They threw a little bit of time travel kind of in it, but you still don't get to see the Blair Witch.
Yep. You see something, but it wasn't the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch it. I
What's
haven't
that?
seen the remake. I said I'll have to watch it. I haven't seen the remake.
It's like I said, it feels I gotta put this up. I sense new t-shirts on the horizon.
We'll have words.
Okay, number 6. Dave, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is Return of the Living Dead Part 2.
Oh,
Because,
nice.
Frank, it's one of the first zombie movies that I can remember watching. That wasn't
Same here.
It wasn't scary. It was enjoyable. It was fun. And, then going into George Romero's, you're like, oh, wow, that's more serious. I like the whole idea of these two characters trying to survive, and, the ditzy girlfriend, and, he loves her beautiful brains, the brains. And it's something that I've actually been trying to find. I've been trying to find the whole collection on Blu-ray. That I haven't been successful. And that was actually another one that we did. Let's see, 2018 Halloween. We covered the entire Return of the Living Dead franchise, but that one to me sticks out the most. Number 2.
I've
It
only
is-
ever watched the
it
first
is
one. I never
great.
watched any of the sequels.
I've seen the first one. I used to own the first one. I have the second one on DVD. I have the third one on VHS. I've never seen Necropolis, and I'm a fan of Rave to the Grave just because of that one zombie who is hitchhiking down the road with a sign. Oh, it gets me. It's hilarious.
Yes. I mean, all of them, other than part 3, because part 3 was the only one that actually had a serious undertone to it.
Yeah.
But I like the entire series. John A. Russo, the guy who took that off, is interesting because he saw zombies as a comedic creature, and the general agreement to everybody is zombies are supposed to be really scary, except for John, and I think he does it really well. I think it makes it enjoyable.
John went scary. Hold my beer. Yep. Okay, Jason, number 5. Number 6.
Six. From 2019, Happy Death Day to You.
Yeah.
I love the first one, but the second one, how they actually gave an explanation, like a pure, whether it's scientific bullshit or whatever, it doesn't matter. It worked. It played. It hit all the right notes. You got some of the recurring gags, but having that main character, having her just pissed off that it's happening again, it's just so great. So well done. Not what you expect. What you expect a sequel to that movie just to be the same old thing. The fact that they just expanded that world, gave you the explanation, they just hit all the right notes with that.
I gotta check that series out. I've never watched either of them.
A lot
It's
of
fun.
fun. A lot
It's
of fun. You
Okay.
can kind of see it almost like if you ever heard the theories about Groundhog Day, because of course the comparisons are there.
They actually mention it.
They do. But there's been talk many times of how long Bill Murray was stuck in Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah.
And we see him, you see him trying to commit suicide numerous times, but there's a lot longer that we don't see.
Well, yeah, because he can play
Happy
the piano.
Happy Death Day kind of feels like this could be almost done like this is the parts we didn't see from Groundhog Day, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The good doctor says the latest Ghostbusters was very horrifying.
I kind of want to agree.
But that was a reboot. That was not a sequel.
Yeah, true. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, James, number 6.
My number 6 from 1997. I had 3 sequels to choose from. I picked the most immediate one, and it is Scream 2. My favorite horror series.
Nice. That's the one with Jada Pinkett opening.
Yes, she
Yeah.
played. She has the opening celebrity death. Her and Omar Epps.
Yes.
And that's also the one that I believe features a Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, Jane
Nope.
Silent Bob.
That's 3.
That was
That
3?
is 3.
Yeah, it's number 3 because
Okay,
they have
my
like,
mistake.
hey, it's what is it like? Hey, it looks like Connie fucking
Connie
Chung.
Chung.
Hey, Connie, how's Maury? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
number 2 is them in college. It actually has the first on-screen speaking role for Cotton Weary after being just shown in prison footage.
It's been too long since I've watched any of the Scream movies. They didn't really stick with me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them, but they just didn't stick with me.
That's masterpieces is what that is. My number 6 was a sequel to a film I thought was going to be horrible because it's all webcams, but it turned out it was really good, and I like the sequel better. Unfriended Dark Web.
Oh,
yes.
damn it.
Rob,
Yeah.
you
I
said it
forgot
wrong.
about that too. Dark Web.
You said it wrong.
Dark Web.
Yes.
Oh my God. That movie is so good. I forgot about it. Ah,
That's actually my son's favorite horror movie.
Yeah. That is so nicely done. You know, it's such a simple idea too. That's I think what really gets me about it. It's just freaking webcams. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
They're on
changing
my
my-
list. I have not watched either one of those films.
What?
I do need to though.
what? Oh my God.
Say it, James. Do it.
I was gonna say I think it's James's.
Dark
James's
Web.
No.
thing.
Good honest watch.
Good. Give it an absolutely good honest watch. It is
There we go.
Unfriended 2 is so intense.
Do I need to see the first one?
No,
Because
no.
I
hear
hear
there's-
more about the
there's-
second one than I do the
There,
first one.
the Unfriended 2, which is in the title, it's more to deal with the dark web itself, and there's no real supernatural element to it.
So I can skip the first one, just go right to the second one.
You
first
can.
one is good. But
The first one is good. The second one is oh my God, makes you afraid of the dark web.
it's like American Horror Story. You can watch every season by itself. You know,
Oh, that's a
Same
good point.
Okay.
you know, you can watch them separately. It's just they're both really good movies.
The second one makes it more terrifying because this is people doing it to you.
Boom, boom, boom.
All right.
All right, Dave, back at you for number 5.
Rob Zombie's Devil's Rejects.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's my number 5.
Oh,
right
nice.
I
on.
put Devil's Rejects and 3 from Hell. That is my number 1.
Oh, nice.
Those films, they revitalized horror, in my opinion. Like they took that House of a Thousand Corpses is really good. It gets really weird and trippy. That part kind of you start to lose me a bit, but I will acknowledge that what comes next, the Devil's Rejects, and then 3 from Hell just blew my mind how good that was. Best horror sequels, in my opinion, period.
What are your thoughts there, Dave, since you picked it?
I actually I agree completely. Is that
Yeah.
he, as someone who grew up watching 70s, horror flicks, I think that it was a thing that actually now I think it's pretty much dead, and Rob Zombie's the only one keeping it alive, and it felt right. The storytelling feels right, and the thing that I like about the characters, the Firefly characters, is the fact that they know that they're not good people, and they just don't care.
Mhm.
And in fact, it's like they get off on how evil and merciless they can be, and any logical sense of thought would be like, "Ooh, I don't like these people." But at the end, when they're racing towards the cops, you're kind of like, "Don't die, don't die! You can do it! You can do it! You can do it!" And you find yourself rooting for the bad guys, and that is a telltale sign of the quality of the script, the acting, and the direction. Where you're literally rooting for the bad guys.
It's a rarity in any kind of film. I know the only other one that I watched that had that going on was Sons of Anarchy. They are the bad guys. They're the gun runners. They kill people, but you push for them. So you're right, Dave. Anything that can do that shows you the quality of workmanship that's going into it.
Yes, and it's I have all 3, and I try to indulge in them at least once a year, like this time of the year. Just sit down and for the longest time it was 2. Now I'm going to have to add 3 from Hell, which I thought was a great movie as well.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Now, sidebar. What's your opinion on 31?
I want a sequel.
Yeah,
I
me
wanna-
too.
Yeah.
I want to find out. I want to find out what happens because the killer and Sherry Moon Zombie, they see each other and end. You're like,
She's ready to fight. Like she's
Yeah.
ready to keep going. Like
I'm throwing it up.
With an
thought
excellent
it was-
use of Aerosmith's "Dream On."
31 is my favorite zombie flick. Period. Like
Yes.
I revisit that every few months.
really?
Yes, I love that movie so much.
Okay. Then
I For a second, I thought we lost you, Rob.
No, I'm still here.
I thought you froze.
What is your number 5, Jason?
My number 5 is one of the few of this series that I have seen because I only saw the first couple. But 2005's Saw 2.
Oh, nice.
What I really liked about it is it didn't just rehash the first one. It kind of took steps into the reality TV kind of feel. But we were introduced to the reasoning why he was doing it. Trying to get people to garner an appreciation for life. That philosophy, as sick and twisted as his methods are, his philosophy is spot on. Like, that's a great philosophy, honestly. He's just going about it in a really sick and twisted way.
Yet again,
Yeah.
rooting for the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a soft spot in my heart for the entire series. I know some are obviously better than others, but it's an interesting little journey up until Jigsaw. Jigsaw, it's like, okay, give me a break. But before that,
But I think I only honestly watched 3, maybe 4. I can't say for sure, but I don't think I made it past 4 at the farthest. Like,
the series is bad. I think it's 7 it goes to, right?
mm-hmm. I think so.
Until no.
Jigsaw.
No, 8. Jigsaw is part 8, and Spiral got bumped to next year.
Yeah, but see, we don't count Jigsaw. Shh.
Well, you got to.
No, we don't. See, you get to, I think it's 5 or 6, and they introduce a cop who was a secret apprentice to Amanda's secret apprentice. That's where it gets a little but you kind of roll with it because, okay, it's a cool thing. Jigsaw has a secret apprentice to the secret apprentice to Amanda. And it's like, screw you, okay? There's too many. He's not Emperor freaking Palpatine here. There's no secret apprentices going on.
I was going to say, it sounded very Sith-esque.
Yes, right? James, number 5.
My number 5 from 1998, still my favorite of this series, Bride of Chucky.
Oh, cool.
This movie's awesome. Not just creepy and not just super funny. It's just awesome. First time you get Jennifer Tilly and Brad Dourif going head to head. Jason Ritter's in there. John Ritter's in there. Especially, you got so many homages to other horror movies: Pinhead, Halloween, Friday the 13th. Oh, it and an amazing soundtrack.
See, that's another fun franchise.
Yeah.
Until the reboot. See, that's just it. A couple of these reboots that we've seen, like Ghostbusters and this one, I think they're good films. They are just not what they're labeled.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because Child's Play was cool about an AI that goes, it's programmed to go squirrely, which is awesome. It's not freaking Child's Play. Demon-possessed doll with a killer in it, that's Child's Play.
Oh, you mean they made a remake that doesn't pay any sort of compliment to the original material at all? Really?
I know. I've
never heard of that being done before.
I was just as shocked. Okay.
The sun will come out tomorrow still, but I've just never heard of that happening ever.
That's a classic. It's right up there with Jaws.
Hey, don't.
Okay. My number 5. My number 5, we've actually already talked about Devil's Rejects. I was with Dave on this one. It's a beautiful movie, right in the middle of the list. You can watch it over and over and over again. So I will go and hit this for number 4. But sadly, we got to skip Dave again because we already know Evil Dead 2 is your number 4.
Oh.
So we go right to Jason.
This one I watched for the first time a week ago. Not even a week ago. And this was because it's been referenced on this podcast recently numerous times. From 1994, Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Oh, nice.
And I loved it. I loved how they flipped it. The movies were real. Like the movies happened, but now this evil spirit has connected to the idea of Freddy and all that. I thought it was so well done. Such a fun sequel that's almost, it's like a meta sequel. You
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
That was brilliantly done.
It's my number 2.
I'm not surprised.
Yep. I love the new look of Freddy in that one.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, the way they changed the look of the actual hand, the glove.
Yeah. And him.
And him, yes.
You know, he's now in a trench coat, and they took a scary person and made him scarier.
Or they made him scary again, because he kind of lost that. Kind of like a Vader with Rogue One situation. Freddy lost a little bit of his horror factor, being such a silly kind of character, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they really brought that back. And Englund was really anxious to do that. He really wanted to embrace the darker version of Freddy. And so he really jumped at that chance. And he delivered.
Oh, big time. Big
And
time.
that kid, my God, it was that kid terrifying.
Well,
That's one of the creepiest kids I've ever seen in a film.
The kid's like 7 years old and has an entire resume of horror films, okay? Pet Cemetery.
That was creepy. When he had the knives taped to his fingers, the look he gave her when he lifted the hand up was like, ah!
Yeah, he was good. He was poor dinosaur. Have a brief moment of silence for the dinosaur. Okay, we're good.
Unsung hero of the moment.
James, number 4.
My number 4 from 2017. It's my favorite of this series. I know it's probably most people's least favorite of this series, but hey, why should I change now? It is Alien Covenant.
Oh, nice.
This one, I thought it just a little bit better than James Cameron's Aliens. It's got just the awesome Michael Fassbender going even more insane with his David character. You get Billy Crudup doing an awesome job in there. Oh God, you actually get the Xenomorph showing up. Danny McBride in a horror movie,
That blew my mind.
doing a dramatic role. Little tiny bit of James Franco, and you get the Guy Pearce younger version of Peter Wayland that was teased in one of those commercials before Prometheus came out. I just thought this movie was the best of all worlds coming together for the Alien movies. If he never gets to make another one that bridges right to the first Alien.
I hope that third one does get made. I really do.
I do too, and so does Ridley Scott.
Yeah, no doubt. And not just for the paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay. So my number 4 is actually the third one in this series, and I just realized I didn't put the year down. Let me just get the year really quick. 1990. And this was a great revitalization of a franchise, especially after the second one, which has already been on this list as well. Exorcist 3.
Oh, very creepy. Very creepy. I want to see the director's cut of that.
That would be cool. I still remember seeing this in the theater, though, and it was priceless because they had that scene where the ghost guy comes up behind the nurse after walking out the door with the shears, right?
Yeah.
And goes to basically have her head up. Right after people, they get all fussy. The very next scene was a close-up of the nurse, and one guy in the whole place just let out an earth-shattering scream. Right? It's like, oh yeah, I'll remember that forever. But man, that was such a good. It was like a police supernatural drama. Like it was. I really, really enjoyed it.
They were really pushing it. You know, if you have heart trouble, do not see this movie. I remember that.
Yeah, they were trying to pull the original Exorcist taglines and stuff like that. Yeah, see? Melissa's with me. Yes. We've got to get her on here for an episode because we used to watch all the best B-grade horror movies. Our movie is Sleepaway Camp. That shows you exactly what we're talking about. I love that movie. All right. Well, on that note, let's jump to number 3, Dave.
Number 3 was my Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the
Romero.
Dead?
Yeah.
Oh, it is too. I was looking at number 2. I'm so sorry. And Jason was Evil Dead 2.
Yep.
And I was Dawn of the Dead. So, James.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, mine's from 2009. It's out of all of the Halloween movies, this is my favorite by far. It is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And I'm if I'm going to be specific, I'm going to say the director's cut.
Okay.
Just because it's very different than the theatrical cut in that you get Laurie, I guess, what's her name?
Strode.
Scout Taylor Compton's character. You get a very different demeanor from her. They turn her from victim into, or like meek victim into just angry bitch the entire movie.
I love that on that.
You get Malcolm McDowell turning into a complete asshole the entire movie, but it's Danielle Harris in the movie where you get, it's just like, oh bitch, I went through this too. I almost died. And then when she does die, you get complete sound cut out for Brad Dourif just completely losing his mind, flashing back to like baby pictures of her.
Mm-hmm.
And then with my favorite part in the movie, and I know I'm alone in this, where just like Malcolm McDowell, Mike Myers, Tyler Mane hats him against the wall. He's just like, Michael, for God's sakes, he's just like, die! And just, I think it was insanely good.
Other than him talking. But I can live with that.
Well, he only says that. I mean, I thought that if he's going to say anything, I thought that was fine.
Well, okay. Yeah, if Michael Myers has a vocabulary, I'm pretty sure it's limited to that word. So, yeah, okay. We can agree on that. I think it's just cool. Danielle Harris, I think, is the only person to die twice in franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, technically she didn't. Her character died.
Yes.
But
yes,
she did not die because after, what was it? After 5, and then you go into 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, it's still that character. It's still Jamie, but it's not Danielle Harris playing her.
Right.
It's a
she died in that film, didn't she?
Yeah, she died in like the first 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I categorize. Like she played, I guess I should, yeah, she played 2 different characters. I think she's the only person in Halloween to do that. I think.
That I know of.
Exactly. Okay. Number 2. Now we get to talk. Dave, what's your number 2?
Halloween 2.
Halloween 2.
The original 1981 Halloween 2. This to me is the best one out of the whole franchise because it's. Let's see. I worked in the hospital setting for a long time, and I actually watched this. I started watching this when I was like really young, and I was working in the hospital, and of course it was Halloween, and it takes place in a hospital, and they're like, "Oh, that's not creepy at all." And 20-something years later, it's still like, oh, it's just great. And then of course with Donald Pleasant, blowing him and Michael, and you're thinking, okay, that's it, it's over. It was just a great flick. I thought it was.
You mean Away, right?
What did I say?
You stopped short of saying Away.
Oh, my bad.
It's a whole different movie. That's all I'm saying. One word. Yeah, I like that they piggybacked. You know, it was one night between 1 and 2. I like,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah, it picks up. It's very rarely do you have a sequel that will do that. They'll start like the next day, next year, next whatever. But that one was true to where it picks up and where it continues.
I think Insidious did that.
See, I don't
Like,
think
it's
I've
the only
seen
one I can think of.
Insidious. I can't
No,
think. I'm not sure if I have or not.
Dang it, now I got to check. All right, Jason, number 2.
My number 2, and again, I've got 2 films clumped together here because I couldn't pick between them. But and again, this is where questionable to stick them with horror. 1986's Aliens and 1997's Alien Resurrection.
Nice.
It's Aliens. It's iconic. It's so quotable. It's got great performances. Resurrection just to me really kind of brought that Aliens vibe back, like the same kind of little bit more of action adventure kind of thing feel. So that's I really put it hand in hand. But there's what's not to love about Aliens? Like, come on, it's especially you want to bring up director's cuts. The director's cut of Aliens.
Oh yeah, with the automatic guns.
The automatic gun scene, which plagued me for years because I know I saw it when I was a kid.
I saw it on.
But also,
I saw it on.
director's cut features a different opening where you find out it's Newt's parents that bring the alien into the compound in the first place.
Oh yeah, and you actually see the ship, that horseshoe shaped ship. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember seeing that version on TV, and then I bought the special edition VHS. And I'm like, what the hell is this? The automatic guns in the hallway thing isn't there because it wasn't the director's cut.
Yep. You get to see Newt's parents and her brother.
I never saw the parents, like that whole bit. I never saw that before until I got this the director's cut DVD. But the automatic guns I saw as a kid when I first watched the movie. But I've never I wasn't able to find any version of that film for like almost 20 years.
Took them that long to do the director's cut. Yeah.
Nice. James, It Chapter 2 is your number 2.
Yes, sir.
And mine is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So, without further ado, number 1. Dave, what's your number 1?
A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
Part 3.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That is in my honorable mentions. It's a classic.
I am a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I watched it in 1984, scared the hell out of me. Was disappointed with Part 2, but they made up for it with Part 3 with Freddy coming back, and he's really pissed off, wants to kill all the new kids. Heather Langenkamp comes back as Nancy.
Yes.
And
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes.
And the Dream Warriors.
Yes.
Yeah, you get to meet Freddy's mom.
Amanda. Yes. Amanda Kruger.
Yeah.
And you get a kick-ass video by Dawkins.
where Freddy wakes up. Oh my God, that was such a nightmare.
God, I haven't thought about that in years. But that is one of the ones that I personally can watch over and over. And how you're talking about, skipping movies and Saw. I couldn't do that. Honestly, I do. I'll go from 1 to 3 on forward. I very rarely watch Part 2.
2 is an oops.
That's the general consensus with that series.
But Part 3 is my favorite. It's, I don't know. It's just something. It's fun. Where I'm trying to make sure I don't tie them both up.
It's another one in it. in a scary hospital.
Yeah.
Sensing a theme here, Dave.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I stopped doing hospital work.
No,
But the part where
Michael, Freddie.
the
Nope, I'm done.
the marionette part.
Oh
where
yes.
They
Ooh.
pull the veins out. He's the
Yeah.
that is just like that is the it moment in horror film for me. Anyway.
I used to be able to time it perfectly when the giant snake with the Freddy's head is going through the house. I used to be able to time it perfectly, and like boom is when it shoots up out of the ground and grabs her. I used to be able to time that to the second.
Not so much now.
It's been a long time since I watched it now.
Great pick. Jason, I guess we know yours.
Yep. Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell. Just quickly, I got a couple honorable mentions that haven't come up at all. So Aliens versus Predator, Freddy versus Jason. I said Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. But the other one, and this one got bumped out by Brahms. This is it's worth mentioning. Antisocial 2.
Yeah.
Because it really took that story in a completely different direction, which can be very dangerous when you're dealing with a series like that. But it worked. They did it right. It wasn't ham-fisted. It explained things well. It's a great sequel that is really unrecognizable as a sequel to the original movie.
Yeah.
Other than the character connection and the brief story points that they mention, it's its own film.
Dude, it's fun. We did a review of that on here with Rochelle and Rye Barrett. And a little trivia came out. Rye is actually in that film.
Really?
Yes, sort of. The beginning of the film, they got all these bodies tied to poles, right? The life cast they made for him for the first one is tied to one of the poles.
Oh, geez.
So he's in it, sort of.
That's still kind of cool.
That is. I love trivia like that.
That's a nice little homage. That's a nice tie-in to the original.
Exactly.
What movie was this?
Antisocial 2.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because Rye was in one.
Right.
Now we're at number 1 for James.
Okay, just carrying on from Jason, I had a few honorable mentions that I was actually switching on the fly before I made my certain decisions. I had Hostel Part 2. I had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, the prequel to the one that came out in 2003, I think, the Marcus Nispel one, which I thought was great just because you get to find out how the old guy lost his legs, and basically everyone's going to die at the outset.
You don't get
so you just watch the carnage. Hellraiser Bloodline, the one that ends up in space, just because it goes back through the whole history of the Lamar Shawn box, the Lament configuration, and Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, the one of that series that I actually think is by far the best, that did the worst for whatever reason.
I'm sensing a trend, but hey.
Yeah. Okay, my number 1 from 2019. The sequel to Stephen King's The Shining, and far better than The Shining in my opinion, Dr. Sleep. This movie and the subsequent director's cut, which for a horror movie, a 3-hour-long horror movie, this movie is phenomenal. I thought Ewan McGregor as a recovering addict, Cliff Curtis in there, the kid. We've talked about this already. The kid from Room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where they throw in a well-known actor, and it just happens to be a child actor who gets killed in like 5 minutes. But
Tommy
the kid
Wiseau?
is such. No.
Tommy Wiseau, yes. He's from The Room.
The kid from Room.
The sequel to Room.
Oh my goodness. My goodness. Let me see. The little kid everyone knows. Jacob Tremblay.
There we go.
has like the kid's already a pro with an insanely good death scene. You've got Rebecca Ferguson as an awesome villain. Oh no, this movie is awesome, and was just like you can watch the theatrical or the director's cut. Either one is great, but it's just the director's cut is just more of a good thing.
I might watch it eventually.
I haven't.
I highly recommend it.
I know I have to and I want to, but I have not yet. Very, very soon, I swear. I swear. All right, my number one. It's the same thing as before, Dave. We were talking about where you just watch a franchise to a certain point. To me, this is where this franchise ends. Is with this movie. Everything that came after it was just a figment of all their imaginations. It never happened.
Oh. Ooh, I'm intrigued.
Yes. And again, I did not grab the year. I want to say 1988. When they realized the franchise needed this killer. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
Yes.
It's, to me, as soon as little Jamie puts on that clown suit and climbs the stairs and starts stabbing mommy, that's the end of the franchise.
Oh, this is the one you lent me, right?
Yeah.
That is a very, very good movie. Yes. And I totally agree.
You know, the other ones were fun, but they did, and the screenwriter for that, I still remember the interview. He goes, I set it up, you know, everybody watching it knew what was going to happen. Jamie is the new Michael, and they
Yeah.
I in my head, I dream about a life where that actually happened, and 5 was a continuation of that story, because that would have been so nice.
Which 5 doesn't even touch, but yeah.
No. Now suddenly she's mute, and it's like, what? I just smile and nod. But 4 is a beautiful ending. It's that whole circle of life crap, you know, where that's how 1 started.
Yes.
And that's how 4 ends. It's like, yeah, it couldn't have been better written.
I absolutely agree with you.
They don't ask my opinion.
I don't think I ever watched that one, so I don't know. I can't say.
And it's the first one with Danielle Harris.
Which it gets so complex. I was telling who was I telling? I think I was telling Rebecca, my sister. The character Laurie Strode, that is Jamie's mother. But then in later, when you get to H2O, you find out that Laurie didn't die. She faked her death, left her kid, and had another kid. And now she's living under a different name with another kid.
Right. Why not?
I'm like
sure. That's what
that
being by Michael Myers will do to you. Make you just drop children. Not that one.
Yeah, no.
But is that why they said with the 2018 sequel, you ignore everything else before, other than the original movie?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
They get away from the sister thing too, because that was established in 2.
Okay.
Because they reference that saying, no, that was some bullshit that somebody said.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so there we go. Our top 10. Yay!
Yay!
Dave,
We did
thanks
it!
for joining us.
Thank you. It was a blast.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. This is fun. This is where we get to talk a little bit too.
Because we never get to do that.
Right? So I lost track. How many films does Jason have to watch now?
3, right?
At least 2 or 3.
I believe you all suggested one movie, so like you've each suggested something. So I'll listen back and figure it out.
Exactly. Oh, and look, someone's happy it's over. Yay! Alrighty. Well, I guess on that note, that's perfect. For another week at the Movie Madhouse, I'm Rob.
I'm still surprised nobody mentioned Jaws: The Revenge, but I'm James.
I'm Jason.
And our buddy.
I'm Dave.
We'll see y'all later.
Toodles.
I say shut up! It's a man!